Hello lovelies, how are you? This is Yasmin Vorajee from yasminvorajee.com, and I want to welcome you to this Periscope. It's been ages since I've done a Periscope, so it's really lovely to be here. And let me grab my pen and paper there, because I wanted to share this Periscope with you because it's something that I have been really thinking about for a good bit of time, and I suppose it's the work that I do with my clients. And what I wanted to share with you today is how important it is to take a step back so that you can actually take a giant leap forward. And what I mean by that is in business, and I see this all the time, and I know this is something that I've been guilty of as well. Let me make sure the screen's okay. Is that we get stuck in being really, really busy. You know, I've got emails to read, and I've got, emails to write back, and messages, and you know the drill, orders to fulfill, and you just get stuck in the weeds. And I see this a lot with my clients, and typically the clients that I would work with are in service businesses, some have product businesses, and typically they're solopreneurs, so they're by themselves. And the problem is that, and it's something that one of my favourite mentors, Brendan Burchard, talks about in his book, The Millionaire Messenger. And he talks about, well, actually, don't let your small business make you small-minded. And the reality is that when you are in business by yourself and you're doing lots and lots of things, hi Mary, how are you, lovely? It's great to see you here. Is that, you think you have to do everything. You think you have to do it all. And I know I've certainly been that. I was in corporate for 12 years before I started my own business, nearly 4 years ago now. And there is that sense of, I just need to get stuck in, which is great at the beginning, because that's what we all need to do, and we all need to, thanks for the hearts, that we need to get stuck in and get the work done. But there comes a point where if you stay down there for too long, you get stuck in the weeds. And it's like you've got these big ankle weights really weighing you down, and it stops you from actually being able to take that bird's eye view of your business. And this is a real problem for a lot of business owners, because, you have these big visions and you have these big ideas. And yet when it comes to the reality of business, actually your constant business is actually stopping you from actually making those big visions come alive. These little hearts are lovely, thank you. A little bit distracting, but they're lovely, thank you. And so what I feel really passionately about is that you need to take a step back. And this isn't something that you just do once a year. We go, I'm going to reflect on what I've done. Really and truly, my concept of retreating to soar is something that you need to be doing on a daily basis, even if it's just for 5 minutes, a weekly basis, so that you can actually think about what you've achieved, what you want to achieve, what you still have to get done. And then, you take a more holistic approach to your business, maybe on a quarterly fashion. But when you take that step back, and to give you a real live example that, and some of the work that I do with my clients, one of the questions I often ask to them is, why are you doing this business? When they are struggling, they're not attracting the right clients. Perhaps, the money is, the trickle of cash flow has just gone really, really slow. And they're really struggling. And I asked them that question of, yeah, Mary says, I know I should do this, but I always put it off. And it's true, we do, because we know that it's something that we ought to be doing on a regular basis, but then you get busy. And that is I suppose that's our Achilles heel, really, because you think, if I stay being busy, then I'll get those results quicker. And this recent client of mine, we had this conversation, and sometimes you just have to ask that question, actually, am I in the right business? And I remember at one point last year, and I was chatting to somebody who's in my inner circle, and she was really, really struggling, and she came to the conclusion that actually she wanted money to come into her life. We all need money to pay our bills and etc. But a business wasn't the right vehicle for her. And as a result, she shut the business down, and she said, I feel so much better for having made that decision. Now, you may not make as dramatic a decision as that, but you might say, actually, I think I'm in the wrong business. I'd like to do X. And when I often journal, there comes a point where you kind of think, is this really what I set out to do? Or have I slightly veered? And you know what it's like when you're kind of on a journey, and the difference of where you want to go and where you are can be so slightly, apart. But the problem is when you go in that direction for a long time, it can really spread out. And that is the challenge, because you know what? You need to course correct. And we can only do that is when you actually take that step back, and when you do take that giant leap forward. Because if you look back and say, actually, do you know what? My messaging isn't clear. I don't know who I'm trying to target with my marketing message. Then you need to fix that. If you're sitting there thinking, I have no sales coming in, I have no leads coming in, then instead of thinking, okay, so what can I do to get that? And you go into a mad frantic, oh God, I'll just post everywhere, and I'll write a blog post and I'll do X, Y, and Z. Instead of thinking that, it's really an opportunity for you to think, is my messaging clear? Are you making offers? Because oftentimes, if you're not making sales, if you look really closely at what you're doing, you're probably not making any offers. When was the last time you spoke to somebody, or you offered them an online program, or whatever your, obviously what your product is. But if you're not doing that, then you can hardly blame your customers for not buying anything. Actually, we have to do that, put the mirror up and look at ourselves and think, actually, do you know what? It's me. It's all me. And I know that in my business, there have been many ups and downs, like probably everybody else in the world. It certainly has not been a bed of roses. But every time I've actually taken that step back and I look and I think, what's brought me the results that I've got right now? Either when there have been really great results, I've been very proactive, but I've been very deliberate and thoughtful about the actions that I do take. And when the results have been shit, honestly and brutally, then again I have to look at myself and think, okay, so what message have I been putting out? And when I talk about message, it could be in the posts, it could be when I'm communicating to my community, it could be the energetic message, because I believe that we are this force field of energy. So what we're putting out there is what we're getting back, even though you may never have spoken a single word. And that's really powerful, because then you have to really be thinking about, okay, what am I focusing on? And one of the biggest challenges I see a lot of people struggling with is when you're chasing the money. Every month, you start and you think, okay, so what am I going to do today to get new clients? Or what am I going to do to, have new sales conversations booked in? And what happens is that when there is that drive and that push for, chasing the money, your actions start taking on the aura of desperation. I hate to say it, but it's true. You take on the aura of desperation, and it's exactly like dating. You'd run a mile, and so I think it's really important to kind of use this quote. And I love this quote because it's something that really has helped to guide me in my business as well. So don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, and go and do that. Because when you are really good at something, if you have a really fantastic skill set in a particular area, and you go out and you share that with other people, like there are niches everywhere. Honestly, every time I look, and I'm always doing research, and I'm looking at it going, wow, there are niches everywhere. And there are so many different niches. Like there's a woman in the States who has a 7, hold on, go away. There are, she has a 7-figure business, so she makes millions from a quilting business. Like, you'd be sitting there thinking, oh my God, who's going to want that? But hold on a minute, there's a lot of people, because, she makes millions. So there are niches in all sorts of fields, but it's about, well, what's going to make you feel like, okay, there's a need for this, and I'm going to share what I really, really love. Like I love helping my clients take that step back. So the majority of work that I do when I'm coaching is really helping them to take that bird's eye view, because I love strategy. I love looking at the vision, and I love looking at, well, what is it that you really want to achieve? And I don't want to get stuck in the weeds with you, because you know what? You do that well enough for yourself. I don't want to get stuck in the weeds with you, but I want to help you grow wings, if that doesn't sound like too much of a cliche, but it is kind of what I do, is I help you to grow those wings so that you can just start to soar a little bit higher. Because when, you know, it's a bit like when we're like little rabbits and you're just going down the grass and you're like, you can't see anything. You can't see what's around you. And yet if you would just take a few, you know, steps upwards and you kind of just were hovering a few feet above, then do you know what? You're now getting a completely different perspective. And, you know, this is something that I was very, very sick last month. I was in bed, and you know what? There's nothing much that you can do when you're in bed and you're just lying there and you think, I can't even lift my head up right now. And it really got me thinking. And I remember going, and I am a journaler, so I went back over journals when I had started my business in 2012. And I started reading the things that I'd written at the time, and I just thought, wow, okay, so in that journey, where have I got to right now? And I kind of asked myself, like, okay, so where is it that you really want to go? Because I was falling into that trap as well, even though that's what I coach on, and that's why I have a coach, is because, you know, she helps me to kind of ask those questions as well, because we just can't do it for ourselves, and that's the reality of it. And Mary saying, I agree totally, it's so easy to lose heart and get lost and your message waters down. Absolutely, honestly. And I think that this is the biggest challenge, because when we start to lose the point of what we're doing, and you start to wonder, why am I doing this? Is this really what I want? For some people, that dramatic decision of like, I don't want to do a business anymore, is a bit like throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because, you know, they really do want to do it, but just not in the way that it is right now. And that's okay. But it's just, okay, well, could I do it differently? And it's about being brave and courageous to ask some of those questions. And I don't hold any punches, to be honest with you. And I'm sure my clients would attest to this as well. Like, you know, sometimes I can be pretty blunt and say, well, do you really want to do this? Because sometimes we need to be jolted out of that mindset that, well, I've just got to carry on. You know, I remember giving myself a really hard time late last year. Hello, lovely Kerry. How are you? Gorgeous. I remember giving myself a really hard time and saying, you know, like, well, you just need to be committed. You just need to make a decision and just go for it. I was really hard on myself. I was thinking, God, would I say that to my 5-year-old or my 2-year-old or, you know, my clients? And, you know, because there was a real kind of, there was a harshness to that. Because if your business is going to be a vehicle for your passions and your talents and your gifts, and you want to be in, you know, 100% alignment, and that's really what this is about, then you have to be gentle with yourself in this process as well. You've got to ask the tough questions, but you have to serve those questions up with huge dollops of compassion, because it's not easy. And I'm a classic overthinker. Don't know whether you are as well. Classic overthinker. I think and think and think and think, and I push for the answers. And in this instance, I just kind of said, I'm just going to throw it out to the universe and see what comes back to me. Because that's when, you know, you get the downloads. That's when you get, you know, divine downloads. I believe in God. You know, I believe in there's a higher power and there's a reason why I'm here. And for me, then it's really about stopping. And, you know, I'm a classic overthinker and I'm an overdoer as well. So as soon as something's going wrong, I'll do instead of, you know, when my sister actually is a brilliant coach, and she actually said to me, she says, who are you being? And that is such a powerful question. Who are you being in those moments? Do you feel like you are, you know, just a doer? And, you know, that I just have to get more stuff done and then I'll get the results? Or do you actually stop and think, what is it that I really want to be about? And am I really living my message? You know, because I love working with people who have an amazing sense of purpose and, you know, they really want to make a positive difference in the lives of other people. Like I know Mary and Kerry, you know, who are on the scope right now. You know, you're doing amazing work, ladies. And so, but we have to make sure that everything that you're doing is in alignment with what's going on internally. And alignment is crucial. It's absolutely crucial. And going back to the example of my recent client that I was having this conversation with, It was a real question of, do you still want to do this, or are you going in a different direction? Do you want to go in a different direction? And so don't push for the answers, but giving yourself that space, allowing somebody like me to help you, facilitate that process can be really, really powerful. And that's what I wanted to share with you today in this brief scope, is really thinking about, well, how can you take that step back so you can take that big giant leap forward? And it's really the basis of the work that I'm doing in my business right now, which is all around retreat to soar, because you've got an important job to do. You have an important message to share. Your tribe, your community needs you. So what you have to do to get yourself into space so that you can truly serve them is to get yourself into alignment internally, externally. Think about the energy that you are putting out there. And really think about, well, is this what I want to be known for? Is this what I want to do for the next 2 to 3 years? I'm not saying the next 10 years by any stretch, but what is it that you really want to be about? And you know what? When you tap into those questions and you think, actually, this is what makes me come alive. This is what actually really, really excites me. So that when I'm going to bed, I'm like, I can't wait till tomorrow. I can't wait till tomorrow. Because you get to do the work that you love, then you're on the right track. And trust me, the money will follow. Don't go chasing the money. And I can't tell you how many times, I've had that same conversation with my clients, and I've had the same conversation with my coach, because we all do it. When we are afraid and when we are fearful, we then go into that scarcity mindset, whether it's related to money or whether it's related to ideas, and whether you're related to clarity. Clarity and purpose are powerful, powerful ingredients, because there's nothing like a woman on fire. There's nothing like a woman with purpose. There's nothing like a woman who is so ignited by her passion and what she is able to do for other people and how she's able to serve her community. And that's really what I want for you, is to feel like you are on fire. You are, in the right place at the right time, and you're serving your community. You're fulfilling your ambitions, your aspirations. You're a source of inspiration for your children, your family, the people around you. And for you to be able to really do all of those things, you really do need to take that step back. And, give yourself the gift of an hour today. Give yourself the gift of 2 hours, at least once a week, where you can actually, really take time to reflect and think, did I waste my time this week? Was I scrolling on Facebook too much? Was I reading lots and lots of articles? Was I, just spending a little bit too much time on social media, just answering rubbish emails, and somebody else could do that for me? Or was I actually doing value add activities? Was I creating a podcast? Was I creating my blog? Or was I communicating with my tribe? Was I serving my clients? Was I creating my product? Was it, what are you doing? Where are you spending your time? So that you can really make sure that you are actually in the best possible space to help you to fulfill your purpose. So I hope you've enjoyed today. If you'd like more information, then please do contact me. I'm on Facebook and on Twitter at YazLeadingWomen. And what's Mary saying? I'm trying to think of the easiest way to give my business a bit of daily time to think about this. Fantastic. Yeah, any tips? Mary, I would highly recommend you just give yourself 5 minutes. Even if it's just 5 minutes in the morning before you get started. Like, this is something that really helps me to get in the headspace, is when everyone else is asleep. And I know sometimes that's impossible because my kids always wake up as soon as I move around the house. But if you can give yourself even just 5 minutes to just take a few moments to set an intention about what you want the day to be about. And at the end of the day, think about what you have done that day. So for me, I like to just take a few minutes to think about, what have I done today? Was it a waste? Was it a good use of my time? And then just think about, well, what do I want tomorrow to be about? And it just has to be those 5 minutes. You could just do very, very simple. You could get a very simple journal and just write it down. And that just helps to keep you on track, because it's February already. And, when you think, God, time's flying by. But when we are taking a daily stock, then it helps you just to slow time down. I can't believe, it's so often that you hear people saying, oh my God, it's like X, Y, and Z, and it's, the months are flying by. But if you're really living every moment and you're really enjoying yourself, then it doesn't feel like it's flying by. So I would really say whether you can take 5 minutes at the minimum, I would say, 10 minutes even at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. And one of the things that really kind of, I suppose, brought it home to me was I was sitting there thinking, when my kids go to bed, I often think, oh, this is my me time. But you know what I was doing? I was watching crap TV. And I know Kerry, who's on the scope as well, they don't watch TV. And I was sitting there going, that's a great idea. I love to watch something funny for a few minutes. And then after that, we all do have time, but it's just about priorities. And, do I really want to watch that stupid program? Or am I just going to take 5 minutes to really focus on what I'm doing with my life and where I'm going? So honestly, I'm a big fan of making things as easy as possible. So if you can find 5 minutes at the start of the day and at the end of the day, I think that will really, really help you. I'll definitely look at where I'm spending my time to and swap out. And actually, Mary, this is something that I did with a client of mine recently, whereas for a week I got her to track where she was spending her time. And it was a really powerful exercise because she realized where all her time was getting spent in non-value add activities that actually she could delegate to her team. And whether that team is somebody that you hire or that, you outsource, it doesn't matter. But it actually was a real eye-opener when she realized that she was actually wasting a lot of time on things that she didn't need to do. So definitely do that as well, just to help you understand. It's a bit like doing a food diary when you see how much you're really eating. And you kind of go, oh, actually, I'm eating a lot more than I thought I would do. Mary says I should start doing those initial 5 minutes in the morning. Lost that recently. I know. And you know what? It's funny because, like I said, my kids are always waking up. And so then I'm like, oh, go back to bed. I just want this time for myself. So then I just have to find, once they've gone to creche and school, to give myself that 5 minutes. So wherever you can squeeze it in, it doesn't have to be rigid. It doesn't have to be like, oh my God, it has to be X, Y, and Z. It doesn't have to be a certain way. We just have to make it work for us. But I think you'll really find it useful. And even if you just switch off the TV for half an hour before you normally would, I think that will really make a big difference. All right, guys, I'm going to end this scope now. I have loved hanging out with you. I'll be back on scope tomorrow. Let me see. Yes, I will be. And I'll talk to you then. I'll talk to you a little bit more about Retreat to Soar. So like I said, follow me at on Facebook or at Yaz Leading Women. And if you would like to know more about how I can help you retreat to soar, then please contact me at support@yasminvorajee.com, or you can contact me on Facebook and we can have a chat there. All right. Take care. Thanks, Mary. Thanks, Kerry. Thanks, everybody, for joining today and for all the people who are watching the replay. Bye-bye, lovelies. Bye.